In China, Chiang Kai-shek, a key figure in the movement of Sun Yat-sen, seizes control of the revolution there when Sun Yat-sen dies in 1925. Chiang is ready to use military force to create a unified, more democratic China. He must marshal his forces to beat back the provincial warlords that control a large part of his giant country. With his wife, Sun Yat-sen's ambitious sister-in-law, by his side, he must also contend with the communist movement within the revolution. Mao Zedong, a young intellectual and a former propaganda chief in Sun Yat-sen's government, is one of those communists. For the moment, Mao is content, trying to create Soviets in the Hunan countryside. In Japan, 20-year-old Crown Prince Hirohito returns from an unprecedented European tour to take over for his unstable father. 5 years later, in 1926, he becomes the 124th Emperor of Japan, considered a divine descendant of the gods. He will later become a collaborator with the Japanese militarists who see their traditional supremacy threatened by democracy. After 20 years, Mohandas Gandhi returns to his native India from South Africa, where he organized the Indian community's stand against persecution. He brings home with him the explosive doctrine of nonviolence and passive resistance. With only the weapons of truth and love, he challenges Britain's colonization of his country. In the mid-20s, Gandhi is recognized as the great soul of India. I am not a saint who has strayed into politics, he says. I am a politician who is trying to become a saint. It is a century of change, dynamic, sudden, unexpected change. Only 2 decades have passed since the Wright brothers soared above Kitty Hawk in a powered airplane. And now, in 1926, Robert Goddard launches the first liquid propellant rocket. Radio is still in its infancy, and a young out of the Treaty of Versailles. Yet another is Joseph Djougashvili of the Soviet Union, who has taken the name of Stalin, Man of Steel. It is this man of steel who, upon Lenin's death in January of 1924, emerges as head of state of the communist nation. As tens of thousands come to view Lenin's body, Stalin moves quickly against Leon Trotsky, widely regarded as Lenin's logical heir. Lenin had warned Trotsky about Stalin, but the aloof intellectual is no match for the unscrupulous man of steel. Stalin first removes Trotsky from his party office and then permanently exiles him from the country. To further assure his power, Stalin will later play a role in the assassination of Trotsky in Mexico. In Italy, journalist Benito Mussolini, leader of the newly formed fascist party, himself as a modern-day Caesar as he mobilizes his followers to topple the government. In 1922, the fascists, 40,000 strong, advance on Rome. The king has been given a choice: bloodless revolution and dictatorship, or war. When the king capitulates, Mussolini declares democracy dead. Il Duce, the new Caesar, has made his first conquest. At the same time, throughout Germany's new republic, people are suffering from hunger. Unemployment and mounting inflation are bringing the country to the edge of ruin. 300 billion marks for a half pound of apples. 460 billion marks for a loaf of bread. Savings disappear. The middle class is wiped out. A single dollar is worth 4,200 billion marks. Then, in November 1923, with the government near collapse, Adolf Hitler declares that his time has come. With his burgeoning Nazi troops, he plans to take over the Bavarian government and declare himself dictator of Germany. His putsch takes place in a Munich beer hall where the Bavarian cabinet is attending a rally. Hitler and his troops rush in. Hitler gets on a chair, shoots a pistol in the air, and proclaims the national revolution has begun. The coup fails, and Hitler is sentenced to 5 years in prison. There he devotes his time to writing Mein Kampf. His book offers his rabid thoughts on race and politics and provides a blueprint of his plans for conquest.
The German Aryan is the master race. All others are chaff. All great movements are eruptions of human passion, stirred by the firebrand of the word. The symbol of all evil assumes the shape of the Jew.
Hitler is released from prison after only 9 months. His book sells 5 million copies in 11 languages. The world has been forewarned. As the 20s come to an end, in America at least, it is a time of plenty. The stock market is booming. Even small investors risk their savings trying to grab their share of the overflowing pot of gold. In 1929, the new president, Herbert Hoover, known as the great humanitarian for his efforts to feed the starving people of post-war Europe, declares that the future will be one of even more prosperity. Most Americans believe him.